Hi there, it's Vladimir. Today I'm gonna clarify what has happened yesterday. And well, I actually don't know what I'm gonna talk about, because the point is just to see from my perspective how all this shit occurred and how I failed during giving this presentation. And well, let's just try to look at the event which took place yesterday from my eyes. But before considering the event, before trying to describe how I experienced it, let's say a few words about how I prepared this presentation. Because, of course, only when I was at the speaking club, I didn't tell anybody before that how I worked on this presentation, why I decided that it was important. And of course I was talking about this in my videos, but hardly anybody watched them. That's the problem. And I think hardly anybody will watch this video. But again, for me, it doesn't matter. I do it mostly for myself, to understand what's going on and to clarify my own thoughts. And of course I think not everybody, of course somebody watches it, but well, let's don't go aside. Last Monday, I memorized, I spent 3 hours memorizing the first two categories of these types of behavior. And at Tuesday, I spent another 2 hours memorizing the last category of these types of behavior, and it took me for about 5 hours. And then during the whole week I was repeating this presentation in my mind twice a day in order to remember it well, and then to attract people's attention and to make it as if it were really important, not just, if I took a book and go there with a book and start writing it and rewriting from a book. I know it doesn't work. So my intention was to really focus the group's attention on these roles, because mostly, as I said it briefly when I had a dispute with Oleg during this speaking club, I prepared these roles because I've noticed, working on this club for more than half a year at this place, that people usually don't do what we consider as a task-oriented behavior or maintenance behavior, which is first two categories. And what they usually do, they just all involved in self-serving behavior. So somebody comes here for trying to find it's really hard to talk about different people. I don't want to offend anybody and say, oh, this man, for example, comes all the time just to joke and to dominate, or somebody comes for self-confession and says somebody. It's more complicated than that. But the point is that after every speaking club, I take a notebook and I write down what has happened at speaking club. And it started a long time ago. So the first, for example, it's this first speaking club was like this. Numbers is just people who came, and every new people I just put a new number. Easier to lead, to keep it in mind. So after the conversation, there's 5 people. I try to analyze what has happened. Then next, for example, speaking club, and I see at the beginning there was 4-5 people, and after every after every club, I analyze it and write down my thoughts, how it has gone, what can be improved, what were weak points, and I do that pretty pretty every speaking club. For example, here, see, communication in small groups. It was April, the end of April, and there was already more people. And this was the time when we had this topic, like we already worked on these group roles at that point, and I realized that it was really useful. And if I read this this page, I just recall, wow, it's like it changed the whole way of leading the club. So before, there was there was few speaking clubs, or not few, maybe there was 5 or 10. But after I started working on these roles, the club started growing, and so during next, next few months, I was working on this, I was trying to implement all these roles. I tried to put the attention of the group. Again, it's really complicated. I can describe this all, but at some point I realized that it doesn't work, and I gave up writing these roles, and I stopped writing down what I was thinking about the conversation. I just abandoned the group, and of course there was some other reason. I had some problems with my health at that point, and I didn't want to waste a lot of time in analyzing all of this and trying to make it better and to work hard. But then after not half a year, but at the beginning of this autumn, 2019, I started working on it again. Again, you may see, intelligence, for example. Here's a conversation about intelligence, and I probably told people in the group that let's try to make this new approach. So if you, exactly, it was at that point I asked everybody to make it better, this work. After having a conversation, you just come home and write down your thoughts about the conversation. It will really help us to make our conversations better. But nobody didn't do that. Well, just one man. Everybody else decided, okay, it's hard, they don't want to do that. And I didn't force anybody. I didn't tell, no, you must do that, or you are not welcome here. Okay, probably the group isn't ready now. I'll do that on my own because I like it. I know how it helps to improve the whole, how it helps to improve the atmosphere and environment in a group. So it's really useful for me as far as I can tell. Then it was culture, and again the same description and analysis of the group, analysis of the speech, worldview, time, boredom, fear, law, public speaking, though I wasn't in charge. But the point is, I'm working on every, after having a conversation, every week I come home, sit down, take an hour, and during this hour I'm writing down my thoughts and trying to analyze what has happened. And now exactly I'm doing the same, but I don't, probably then after, today is Monday, and yesterday I had lots of things to do, that's why I didn't analyze this yesterday. But today I have plenty of time, and now it's this video, I can use it just to clarify my thoughts on what has happened, because it was unusual. If we take all these previous clubs and the meetings, they were basically pretty much the same. There was some differences, some of them were worse, some of them were better, and when they were better I tried to analyze what I ate, what made them better, and when they were worse I tried to analyze what made them worse, and essentially it worked. I feel now that during these last 3 months, when I worked seriously on these topics, when I wrote down some materials in a group, when I tried to analyze every time how the meeting is how the meeting happens. It really helped to to make some small improvements every week. So every week we really, if you like, for many people it may be not obvious, because some of them don't come every week, some of them come twice or once a week, some of them don't care about what's going on there. They only care what's going on in their mind and think, oh, I came here just to to practice my English, and what's going on in the group, what is this group about. It's not for me. I came here once a week and for 2 hours, and then I go back home and do what I'm doing. I don't care about anything what has been said in the group. But my intention, to create a team when we can learn English together. And since, if you are not interested in learning, of course you can come to Speaking Club and to to talk for 2 hours once a week and then just forget about it. Really, it's if you like it, come in. I don't mind. But the point is that, from another side, that my intention to make the group working in a certain way. That here we have kind of potential for growth. And since people start coming here, they had an extra motivation for learning English. They really want, they engage in the process, and in this process we are not trying to just compete with each other who knows English better. We try to create kind of environment when after you come here you can compete with people and you can collaborate with them simultaneously, and it will be beneficial for everybody. So again, last week I decided to work on these roles. It was important. I had the whole picture in my mind, but again it was just one. I didn't expect it. The kind of sabotage will start after the very beginning, because the point was present every role, then consider it really briefly, say a few words. Just I say a definition, people ask somebody to rephrase the definition, to understand what does it mean. Go next, and 22 roles. It's 30 minutes of the speaking club, and then we just play these roles. And the point was just to understand, to try to guess who plays which role. And since we spent this, if of course, if there was no this not tension. I wouldn't call it tension, but there was a kind of competition, and some people decided, no, we are not happy with what's going on. We are not going to listen. We came here to communicate, to talk, and it's kind of lesson, and we don't want it. We are not ready to to sit for 20 or 30 minutes and listen to this bullshit. Okay. Well, I tried to, of course, I spent, as I said, 5 hours memorizing this presentation, and 5 hours or even more repeating it twice a day, just to keep it in my memory, to make it strong. And of course, I wasn't ready to sacrifice these 10 hours for just one or few, or maybe even half of the group doesn't like what I am giving. If you don't like, well, just as I was thinking that moment, if you don't like, you can just at least have respect for others, and probably somebody, even there's only one person who likes it and who wants to understand. Probably you have to to slow down your aggression, or your what was it, certain role, blocking. Yeah, there's few people engaged in blocking, and blocking. I repeat it because now I have all this in my mind, my memory. So blocking. The member is disagreeable and digresses in an effort to ensure that nothing is accomplished. And that's exactly what was going on. Few people started, no, it's we don't want to hear it, etc. And well, it was blocking, and there was no somebody who could really help, and because of course it was blocking from like not just okay. I'm not going to consider all details, or yeah, probably I need. Why not? I mean, it's like really, it's my video. I don't need to even publish it. It's like for me. I do it for myself. If I then decide to publish it, probably it would make sense. If not, doesn't matter. I can watch it again and see, or if I said something inappropriate that people are not ready to hear, well, I wouldn't publish it. But again, I'm talking the truth, okay? I'm talking what I'm thinking. There's no need to be, to be, like if it's truth for me, right? I'm trying to tell what I think. And if somebody doesn't accept that, it's not my problem. It's a problem of somebody else. And if somebody like somebody thinks that there are some mistakes or not mistakes or something like I do something wrong, of course I can have a dialogue with these people and try to understand what I'm doing wrong, because I can see from my point what I'm doing wrong. But at least I'm trying to say truth. I'm not trying to escape or to say, oh, okay, probably it was really it's impolite to use this language, or if I can say that, I'll probably offend somebody. Well, if I offend somebody, probably there's a reason. I'm trying to tell what I think. That's the point. And let's continue. So the beginning, it's like I'm focusing on the beginning. Of course, at the second part, everything like smooth, and we finished. At the end, there was no tension. And there was little tension, but again, it's like we get through it pretty well after such a beginning. It was really even for me it was really difficult when we just divided the whole team in roles. Like when I gave everybody this little paper with a role, like first 5 or 4 minutes I was sitting and just, and I get these roles joking and both self-serving roles, joking and recognition seeking probably, yeah. And I was like, if I just play these roles, I'll make it much worse. Let's just wait. And I was thinking how to make it better. And then I came up with this idea, just telling that you don't need to play certain roles. If you like to play, you may try. If you don't, like, just behave as usual. And then I engaged people, like new people who came 20 minutes after the conversation started and who didn't have an opportunity to introduce themselves, and I gave them an opportunity to say their names, to describe what's going on, and also I focused on present, on the topic, and yeah, and then we have like maybe not a not a smooth discussion, but it was kind of usual and normal. We did, like, everybody expressed their opinions and their thoughts, no, as I wanted. But again, but my failure and where I failed, like, these roles are really, really important. And since nobody gave a fuck, gave a shit to these roles, it's my failure. Because if we take all people who usually come to the group, to the meeting every week, and if they can understand these roles, like all of them, not just few, if they can understand when they behave, like if they can understand their own behavior when they do self-serving behavior, and when they do maintenance behavior, and when they do task-oriented behavior, it will really help to improve our communications. It will really help improving our discussions. I know that because it helped me. It made me feel much better during these conversations, and it made me, see. It made me see more than is actually going on. So at every meeting, there's like a superficial discourse. We're just talking, we exchange our opinion, our experience, just talking, but there, like a deeper level, and on this deeper level, something else is going on, and I can see all of what's going on. So I can see people's motivation, why they came here, what they want to achieve, how can I even use their, like somebody came here and he wants like something, right? He has something in mind, and I know what I can give to that person to make him happy. Like even if it's self-serving behavior, I see that somebody like likes to do this particular thing. And sometimes, of course, I can, like when I see that there's an appropriate moment when I can use it, and I can like give this person an opportunity to express his, his feelings or whatever he has in mind. And it's like it works pretty well. Even it's like I know all these self-serving behaviors, and there's no need to teach people like behave in a different way. For me, there's no need to to force people to change their minds and their feelings and their personalities. There's need just to use these types of behavior in a way that it's not destructive for the whole group, and also in a way that it helps to to maintain a conversation. Because when we take there are some other types of behavior, but it's from conflictology. Where's my water? It's from conflictology and just a new typology. I don't know, can I use this word? Okay. There's a shark. Like there's only five types of behavior, and a shark, she or he basically wants to dominate, and like it's dominating behavior. So it's like my way or nothing, nobody else's way. Exactly what we've seen at this meeting when one person decided that, oh, okay, if nobody, it's like my way or nobody else's, and we've seen to what it led. Well, shark, but it's not in this particular situation, but in like unusual conversations, it's not so difficult to take this type of behavior and make it work for the whole group. For example, there's no need to argue with this man or woman, but there's a need to give him or her express his feelings in a polite way, and make it at appropriate moment. And when I know all of this was going on, I can handle all this stuff. It's like it really works. But when I imagine that we all know like who does what, it's like it may make the whole group it may elevate the whole group to the next level. Well, it's just one thing. Another type of behavior, that was first shark, the second was turtle, and it's like avoidance. So this type of behavior, people just don't want to look at what's going on whatsoever. So they they can contribute to the conversation, they can talk, they can do whatever we ask them to do. But when there's a problem, for example, again, these types from conflictology, I don't know, is it right? Conflictology. So shark, right? She or he just when there's a conflict, it's about dealing with conflicts. When there's a conflict, shark just will win or lose. There's no any other way. Turtle, it's a way to avoid any confrontation. So when there's a conflict, it's just the way to escape. I'm not going to deal with this conflict. I'm not going to see this problem or issue. I'm not going to involve in discussing it. I just avoid it. I rather don't talk about it at all, or just I leave the whole place and I forget about all this nightmare which happened. So avoidance, really difficult, really shark, it's very easy to deal with a shark. So shark is straightforward, but avoidance, like when there's lots of people who are exhibit this behavior in a group, like the opportunity for growth for the whole group is just diminishes to the zero. So if there's like 30% of that people, there's no way to deal, like to move the group to anywhere. So the group will always be like small, no growth, no increase in quality of conversations, or or quality of discussions, dialogues, no matter what you call them. Another type of behavior is like beer, but it's like teddy beer. So teddy beer. So the point is that this type of behavior tries to get to both sides, to be in both sides simultaneously. He or she may say, like, I like your point, and I like your point, and I like everybody, and everything is alright. It's like avoidance, it's complete, like, you withdraw from dealing with the problem, but teddy bear, it's like it goes to the problem, it's okay, there's no any conflict, we all might be happy. And it's also, it's kind of negative, because you can't do anything. So problem, if it occurred, it will never be solved if like you have a deal with teddy bear. So because he doesn't want to look at the problem, he wants everybody to be happy. And since if there's a problem, somebody can't be happy, somebody wants to solve the problem. So teddy bear is like, again, you know what to do. Then there's a fox, and fox also, like, what does fox? Fox, it's like teddy bear, but it's a little bit subtle. So it's like, it's not talking, it's like when I with one group, I in this group. When I with the second group, or the second part of the group, I with that group. So if there's a tension, like, I will not be engaged in a process of dealing with the conflict, but I will, when we split in small groups, I will contribute to each small group. And like fox, easy to understand. Fox is deceptive all the time and tries to get whatever he or she may get. Difficult. And the last thing is like one really positive type out of this four negative. It's like, I don't even forget what was the animal for presenting this type. Probably it was what it was. But the point was that this type of behavior is like when you have a respect for everybody and you are ready to respect your enemy, like enemy. So when there's a conflict, there's somebody who on one side and somebody else who on another side. And when you display this type of behavior, so you are ready to have a discussion. You have a respect for your opponent. You are willing to listen to him, to understand what he want to say, why he thinks that way, and and it's not a way to dealing with the conflict when you listen to another side and try to, no, you are wrong in this, you are mistaken in that. It's like, instead of criticizing each other points, it's like presenting the problem from I point. So I just tell, for example, tell me what are you thinking about what's